This is Abnormal Entertainment.
Welcome to GloryHoundd and the Uninvited Gamers. I'm your host, GloryHoundd, and tonight's Uninvited Gamers are...
Dr. GloryHoundd.
Greg Dixon.
And we are restarting our podcast here with, new people.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is Greg from Hooked on Geek.
Hi, everybody.
And he will hopefully be joining us as a permanent guest on our show. And, of course, Dr. GloryHoundd is back.
You're welcome.
But we're going to be splitting our show up into an After Dark series as well as a Kickstarter series. So if you're into Kickstarters, you're going to be able to check out our Kickstarter 30-minute videos, or if you just want to hear about our shenanigans on our After Dark show, then we're going to have 30 minutes of our After Dark show.
Sounds good.
All right, so...
30 minutes.
We're recording down here at Games U today. And it's beautiful Games U. They're going to be having some tournaments going on back here and stuff.
Two tournaments.
I know, and it's going to be kind of interesting for our viewers because, they always hear about where we're at, and they probably hear all the background noise, and now they actually get to see all of it.
Well, I think they're just going to be most excited about getting to see me, honestly.
Is it really?
I don't know if anyone's going to see background stuff at all.
No?
Yeah.
They're just going to be focused
Once again,
on you.
you're welcome.
They're gonna zoom in, just frame us out, and just close up of your face.
I'm going to end up on a lot of people's profile pictures. I think.
You're going to get a meme made out of you for sure.
I know that's what
That's like the highlight. That's like
She's
what
like,
I
want
want.
a meme made out of me. I'm like, you know that none of those are ever good, right? Nobody gets a meme that's like makes me sound intelligent. It's always bad.
But it would be hilarious. Come on.
I'm just looking forward to someone in the
says that
background
now.
losing a game and flipping everyone else
Oh
at the
my
table
God,
up,
that would be
and
awesome.
we catch it in the background.
That would be fantastic.
Tables flipping
or
in
like
the background.
A robbery. What if there was a robbery?
Oh wow,
What?
we could be like crime fighters.
We could.
We're like Batman
That's
over
when
here.
you see like we all just duck.
Yeah.
Well,
Nothing
there's a
to see
robbery
here.
in progress.
There's a
Nothing
man
to
with a
see
gun.
here.
All right.
I'm not retreating. I'm just taking a knee.
So I wanted to talk about today the True Dungeon. Have you guys heard about True Dungeon?
I've heard of
Yes.
it. I've never done it.
Okay, so
I researched it exclusively.
Did you?
Yeah. No, I've been looking into it a lot because it sounds awesome.
So I went to Origins this year, and I had the opportunity to do True Dungeon, which is sort of like the mix of an escape room, along with like a role-playing
Like
game.
a LARP, though. 'cause it's
Yeah,
live
well, like
action.
a LARP, yeah, which is so cool. So,
And they have them at a lot of conventions and stuff, right?
Well, just like
I think there's
three conventions.
well,
or
I thought it was
four.
like 4 or 5.
It was PAX South,
Yeah.
Gen Con,
Does Origins?
Origins,
and maybe another one. Oh, they said they like sometimes will do a smaller version at one of the local cons, I think.
Oh, really?
I
That's
think
like
you're
local to
thinking
them.
of your basement, True Dungeon. That little setup that you have.
If I had a basement, part of it would have to be a dungeon.
Yes.
Like out of just based off her proclivities.
I like how you pretend you don't have a basement, but we've
got
all seen that
The
trap door.
basement.
Yeah.
It's under the rug.
The
I'm
secret
sorry.
about
Yeah,
a
it's under the
basement
rug.
is to not let people know you have one. Because then when the police come, they don't look there.
Last time I was over, you moved the rug a little, and I could see that opening.
Yeah, well, because you need to stand on
And I
that
could hear
X.
some
You start
screaming,
walking,
too.
and
I'm
there's
not
like
sure.
some hollow spaces.
I'm like,
What is that
That's
sound?
so weird. Like right
welcome
here.
to our home.
What is it?
Please stand by the X.
This is not a trap door. It's fine. It's fine.
I would use it
Just let it
constantly on
happen.
my own child.
Just let it happen.
Whoop, just drop her down, and like I have like a TV with Netflix going down.
What
there
a
or
fun
something.
prank for the kids.
Just fall through the floor. Then
That's
on
where you get the
mattress.
slide. You're like, whee.
Yeah.
And then the spikes really are a
Yeah,
bad
well,
ending.
you know,
I will say, ever since I saw that movie Blank
a fun
Check
end.
as a child, where he's got the slide that goes from his bedroom down to the
Wow.
pool, that's like the best
Blank
idea ever.
That's
Check.
the one.
Yeah, Blank Check.
I haven't thought about that movie since
That's
what,
for-
91
that's
or
forever.
whenever
Yeah.
it came
It
out?
stays good, except that it's like he gets $1 million, and I'm like, that would like
Not
do
that much
anything
anymore.
today.
It's
Like,
not that
nothing.
much anymore.
Well, the movie came out in 1934, so, you know, it was
Not-
more money back then.
It was 43. Don't exaggerate.
I always get those numbers mixed
He's
up.
an exaggerator. This guy.
It's weird having the camera on, I have
Is
to
it?
admit.
Is it
really?
A little bit.
Is
Don't
it
look
freaking
at
you
it.
out?
No, I wouldn't say it's freaking me out, but I feel sorry for the viewers.
I've never been this long in
Well,
front
they
of
get
the
to
camera
see all
with my
the
shirt
animated like things that we do and stuff.
It might
so.
be more fun for them if it was like this.
No. All right, so True Dungeon, it's a 7-room experience, and they have different, basically, like, routes you can go on. So, like, I did the Moon Gate. Yeah, the Moon Gate. And I have to tell you about the first room. I'll tell you about just the first room and how it looks. So, what you do is you go up to the True Dungeon people, and you get, like, a little bag of tokens. You open it up, and all your tokens are, like, different gear pieces or potions that you might use for the game and stuff,
And
right?
they persist. Like, so if you get gloves of +1, Like, you can keep using those.
Yes, you can use these, in every true dungeon game. So you can start,
really?
collecting these these tokens and start building your characters, okay?
There's a whole economy based off of it.
I'm going to start like a black market Etsy page.
There you go, right?
Oh, really?
Yes. There's an economy. There is a thing which, like, a low-level entry, if, like, you and your group want to pay $250, you'll get, like, I think it was like 10 or 30 packs of these things.
Where you can just open up a whole bunch of them,
That's the low-level buy-in.
I was going to say, I heard the word low-level and $250, and I was like, that's low-level?
It goes up.
If you're going to be going to a bunch of games.
And up. Like, it just keeps going up and up, and then you can start even where you get, like, a legendary item from last season or something.
Well, okay, so you get these coins, and then you go into your room, and you set up your character. So you have these little sheets that you can, like, set your coins down, so you're equipping your characters, and you get to decide whether you want to be, like, a fighter, a paladin, a wizard, a cleric, a rogue. And you equip your character as so. And then they take down your stats of what you are, and then you take your sheet, and then you go into, like, the training room. And the training room is very cool. This is, like, the coolest part of this whole thing, okay?
So don't even do the dungeon. Just
no.
Just train and leave.
The aspects of each character are different. So if you're the rogue, each room is going to contain a box, and the box has like a little rivet in it that you can follow, and you have to make this metal thing go through it, but you can't have it touch the side. So it's like operation.
Yes.
Okay.
So you're testing your dexterity as a rogue to open a box in order to get clues or something or treasures throughout the game.
The better you are at your class, the more things you'll unlock, and the better.
For like the wizard, there's like this little chart with all these little like shapes on it and words and stuff, and you have to memorize all the words in the different shapes. And then whenever you do a spell, they point to something on the chart that's blank, and you have to tell them what it is.
Like the druid does leaves.
Yeah, the druid does
leaves. Memorize a bunch of leaves. So
the cleric has little beads and stuff that are intricate that
I'm
you have
imagining
to do.
the training for the cleric, and they bring in a guy who's like hemorrhaging, and they're like, all right, if you can fix him.
It's like prayer beads.
He's bleeding out.
They come in with prayer beads, and you're like...
The paladin's like, you got to lay your hands right on him, okay?
If you can't faith heal this guy, you can't beat this class. I'm sorry.
That's it.
So, but it adds a whole uniqueness to each character that you're playing.
Cool. That's a cool
So you have
idea.
the gear, and then you have like this uniqueness to your character, and then after you get your training, you enter the dungeon. And in this first room, there was like the fake grass put down, so you walk in, it's all of a sudden there's grass.
That's cool.
I like to call it AstroTurf.
And there's like this
AstroTurf.
elf lady there, and she's like the elf queen, so she looks like she's naked, and she has her hair like laying over her body and stuff.
That's why I researched heavily.
And
Mostly Google image.
when she speaks, her voice like echoes in the room and stuff. And there's this beautiful tree that's like lit up with 1,000 lights and little fruits hanging off of it.
That sounds
and
rad.
Like it is fucking awesome.
Well, people are in character.
Like,
they say it takes 250 people that are /volunteers / people that work there to run it for a 3-day event. Like 250 people.
Wow.
Because you have a person in each room that helps guide you through the rooms. And like any role-playing game, if you want to talk to, the bees, or you want to interact with something, you talk to that person in that room, and they do the role-playing interaction with you, as well as your problem-solving. You have problem-solving or puzzle-solving rooms.
Sure.
And then you have fighting rooms, too. So like in a fighting room, you have like a giant mechanical monster there, and like each character has a different thing that they can do to fight the monster.
For example, like you, a lot of the fighter classes slide like a kind of like a puck
like a shuffleboard slide thing. Yeah,
like that's how they fight.
Okay.
So like the warrior, he gets pre-training. That's like one of his advantages, and then he gets to shove, like he throws one across, and then there'll be like a character on the ground, right? Like you'll see an outline, and like the head's 19 points.
Oh, I see.
Arms
Okay.
18 points, and you got to try to like line it up.
So the fighting classes do that.
But then the different classes are different. So like the ranger does 2 things at once, so they slide 2 things at the same time. And the cleric does 1, and they all have their own special kind of thing, like that they do in order to fight.
Yeah,
So
it's
you are fighting.
very
You're not rolling
cool.
dice. Like,
No,
it's
yeah.
skill based.
Yeah, it's dexterity based.
Yep.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so each room has its own little theme and its own thing happening, and like its own interaction. And like we got to this one room where there's a bunch of flowers in it, and we smelled all the flowers, and each flower had an individual smell that we were trying to identify. And like it was so intricate, like you would like a really good escape room.
Yeah.
But it had so much fun, like fantasy role-playing stuff to it, with all the actors being there and the challenges and
And
stuff.
there's the aspect of replayability where
It was so good.
you almost get rewarded to keep playing it because you get better gear.
Yeah.
And then people come in and they have guilds, they'll all be wearing guild
the
shirts,
guilds. So
they'll
some
dress
people come
up.
in dressed up and stuff. Oh my
they make
goodness.
their character a permanent character.
Yeah.
I will always be Fizz-Wizits the wizard.
So
every time.
it's intersection of all these different geek things, cosplaying
I
and
know,
role-playing
right?
and escaping and
you get your little
dexterity
XP,
games.
you get your little XP cards so you can level up online and talk to a community online about it and stuff.
There's
Like
a huge forum community. The guy says it's his like part-time thing that he does.
It's
not like his full
amazing,
job,
though.
But that's why he only does it at so many
Amazing.
conventions because it's he says it's like $60 to $70-ish bucks, depending on which like kind of event you're doing.
Yeah.
Which isn't bad in the aspect of when you
how
think
long
of
of an experience
2
is that?
hours.
in 7 rooms.
Yeah.
So think of an
The
escape room
we
times
did-
7.
Yeah.
Right. So the escape room we just did, like just this weekend, was like $30-ish bucks.
So
per
usually,
person.
yeah,
and it
25,
was,
30
and it was
bucks.
about an hour, right?
Yeah, they're
so
always in an hour.
60 to 70
almost
bucks
always an
for
hour.
something that's like more immersive that has actors in that you interact with. Like,
Yeah.
our escape
It
room, we're
feels
doing
reasonable. No, it
stuff.
feels very reasonable.
They did
And the guy gets on
lights,
his- right.
and so like if lightning came down and struck something, all of a sudden the room would light up, and
Strobe.
and like you'd hear the noise, and it's like everybody takes damage
I saw a
and
thing
stuff.
with eggs
Like
where they had eggs
so
set up,
cool.
and then somebody had a wand, and as they were going over the eggs would light up different colors. I don't know what the
It's
puzzle
very
was,
intricate.
but like that's the level of detail they've got with these things, where you actually have a wand and you're like waving it over to eggs.
So, like, if you go to a convention like Origins, they have
Yes.
like one true dungeon experience.
Yes. So if anybody's going to Gen Con, True Dungeon is going to be at Gen Con, okay? And they're going to be revealing their new puzzles for the year. So
I think
like
are they doing the Norse?
So I was wondering
it's
like
the
how
Norse
often
ones,
they
yeah.
reset.
I think it might be yearly on that, yeah.
Okay.
Because
So-
they're doing like
But they have different
Odin's
versions of it. So,
Okay.
like, you can do different levels of it. So, like,
Yeah.
for example, they have a sealed event where you can't come in with outside gear. You just get the gear you get when you get there, and that's it.
Yeah.
And you play through it. But you get special participation prizes for beating it and everything else.
Yeah.
So they have different levels. So, like, you shouldn't play the same one every single time. If you went to every convention they did, there should be 3 different ones.
So they're running 3 different scenarios simultaneously at any given event?
Yes.
Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. They'll run.
So you pick the one you haven't done before.
Yeah.
and-
Right,
That's
Absolutely.
awesome.
It
That's
seems
Absolutely.
like there's definitely beginner level and then like intermediate
Yeah.
because they have ones where like you can
Well, yeah.
get
So
XP and
at the
die.
beginning of it, they go, okay, do you want to play regular, nightmare, easy, and they do it kind of based off your
Nightmare,
gear
you're
too.
like, I'll pass.
Well, if
You can get
your
XP
party is
level up and
geared,
everything.
yeah, if your party is geared really well,
Yeah.
they'll say, well, you guys are geared really well. Maybe you guys should try Nightmare, and so they'll try to put you in the right
and how many
area.
people are going through like simultaneously?
10,
I
right?
think it was 10. Yeah.
Okay.
I want
Yeah.
to say 10.
It was
so a fairly
good.
large group.
Yeah, it was so good though.
And they have, I want to say, 12 character classes. They just added like a dwarf fighter, which has some different aspects
Yeah.
to it, and an elf wizard or ranger. They added an elf something, which they said
Yeah.
would be different than just the standard wizard or the
Oh,
standard fighter.
and for those of you who love puns, at the very end, they give you all these different puns about your classes, which was fucking hilarious. Okay, they're
She
like,
loves puns.
I
they're
love
like,
that that's the highlight is the punch sheet at the end.
what was it? They were like, thank you, for your service, elf wizard, because you are the master race. Like, it was just like little sort of things that they talked about. It was fucking hilarious, though, listening to all of them. It was very cute. It was very cute.
I heard the elves
But-
are going to build a wall.
Like,
But-
you did such a good job, Paladin. Thanks for laying hands a lot on yourself. A lot
Right?
of self
Right, exactly.
We actually need to talk to you about that. There's
Yes,
like a waiver.
Yeah,
and
seriously.
if
a lot of
you-
self-touching.
There's kids here.
If you end up beating the dungeon, you get prizes at the end. So you get to
Like a chest of, like,
a
loot
chest of
that
loot,
has
and you
random prizes.
you get 3 tokens out of there, and then you get your XP card for that, and then you can go on your
Wow,
way.
that sounds really
I was
cool.
looking
It was very, very
if
cool.
It was on this side, like, of the world.
Yeah,
If it was closer to the
Because,
southwest
like,
where we are, I would be into this every single time.
Yeah.
Because I was thinking about it, like $250 split between 10 people. That's an extra $25. I think my math is solid on this. So, like, and then you get extra tokens to start off with. And what the guy was saying, the guy who runs it, like the main guy, right, whose idea it was and everything, and he says his group runs it, is that there's so much to do. He's like, he loves it. He shows up, and there's people like on the ground or has a table set up trying to trade gear and sell
Yeah.
gear before the event and stuff because it's so, and people like really identify with their characters and get
Yeah.
it's like.
Sounds like a whole like sort of subculture
It
has
really
like
is.
popped up as,
It really
as a result
is.
of this.
And,
You're
like-
15 years, I think, or something.
Really?
Yeah.
I've been hearing about it for the last several years.
You need to go. So,
Yeah.
like, whenever
well,
you
my
hit
wife
up
and
the
I
big
love
conventions.
escape rooms.
Yeah,
we do
right?
them all the time. This
Right.
sounds right up our alley.
Yeah, we're like 5 or 6
So
escape
good.
rooms in, and
Yeah.
this just sounds like the next level.
Right.
Yeah.
And almost like I actually prefer it more than the escape room because it's more immersive
Oh,
and
yeah.
like it's more like class based. Like you feel more important, in an escape
Well,
room.
and
like
you're a big role player. You
Yeah.
like that element of gaming.
it's so good.
She's a dainty role player.
I'm a dainty role player. What does that mean?
I said
You
you're
always
a big
play
role
like
player.
an elf noble that's always like snooty.
I'm DPS.
sure.
Wait, what?
I'm the glass cannon, okay?
Hold on, let me start Googling some of these terms.
You're like, hold on.
Have you never played other games?
DTF? What?
DPS. DPS.
Netflix and chill? What? That's what I heard. I don't even have a subscription, so just come over.
Is this the Uninvited Gamers or Jersey Shore? Like, what are we talking about here?
Well, we probably should start talking about what we played this week, so...
You played True Dungeon.
Well, I did play True Dungeon.
That wasn't this week, though.
No, it was when we were in Origin.
No behind-the-scenes stuff.
This is timeless, evergreen content.
I did get a chance to play Century Road Eastern Wonders by Plan B Games, and that's designed by Emerson Masucci. Is that how you pronounce his last name? I don't know. I've only heard Emerson, so that's just...
That's probably because that's the easier name to say.
It is. They're using
just use his DJ name, Emerson
By the way,
M.
Emerson M. I like that. Emerson M. My bro.
Well, everyone does that. You come up with an easier nickname if the word's too hard. Or if you're like American, you just kind of change it however you want. Like, this is how we're going to say the word now.
Like America is hard to say, so you say Merca.
Right.
Yeah.
Just change it.
Makes it easy.
Not Iraq, it's Iraq.
Iraq.
Whatever.
Whatever.
Do something about it.
Well, and Greg, you got a chance to play this game as well.
Yeah, I played the, what's it called? The Sand and Sea hybrid where you
play
both. Combo.
Yeah, you combine it with
Well,
spice
talk
roll.
about that a little bit. So
This particular
game
is you can play it just as Eastern Wonders.
Yeah.
Or you can choose to play it with the first version, Century Spice Road, combined with Eastern Wonders into one game.
So they're both standalone games, but there's ways to kind of merge
Well,
them.
the first one's like what? Deck building more?
Yeah.
And then the second one's more like...
Well, and this is the third
placement?
one, technically, because they had the Golem one in there. So this is
I
like
don't know
the
if they
third.
consider that Golem one part of it.
Well, the Golem...
I don't think it's part of the series that they were
Yeah.
trying to make, but it has the name
The
associated with
Golem
it.
one
so
is
you
like
don't
a
wanna say-
reskin of Century Spice Road.
Right.
Yeah.
But so from what I was understanding, like this one is more worker placement almost, like because you have like all the pieces are out and you're trying to solve the puzzle of where to move with your ship.
It's got a board element and almost like a pick up and deliver.
Right.
Yeah.
Versus like I'm going to pick up a card
Yeah.
and then I'm going to play.
Well,
The
absolutely.
other one's kind of
so,
like a hand management set collection kind of a thing.
Exactly. So both of them are engine building games where
Yeah.
you're trying to get your engine going. The first one is based off of cards that you're trying to collect, so once you pick up those cards, only you can use those cards. With this particular one, it's like all of the cards are almost like out on the table, so
Right.
the mechanics are the same in that, you're transferring spices from one type to another type to get the biggest benefit on where you're trying to go with it. But with this one, anybody can use these as long as they place little huts down on them, basically. But I really, I liked this one better than Century Spice Road.
Well, because it's a different game set, right? It's more in-depth. It's more of an in-depth game where you can try to solve the puzzle that's on the board versus just like more randomized, like what cards are going to pop up, what can I grab, what is he going to grab before I get a turn to take a card. Where like that's what a deck builder is, right? Like
Right.
cards flip up, and you don't know what they're going to be. You're like, oh, I need that card. It's going to be perfect.
Yeah,
for my
this
engine.
one
And Greg takes it, and you're like,
is
that bastardo.
the master of the game plan. So, you have a plan that you're going for, and it does change because the points values change
Master
on it
Blaster.
that you collect. And once you collect one of those points values, that's taken off. So everybody's plan can kind of change then. However, I like the fact that once the board is set, I can make a bigger plan, so I can plan ahead.
I see.
And I love planning in games. I don't like
does.
off the fly or off the cuff sort of things in games.
Where I
so,
love the randomness and just
Right.
going what
roll
can
a
I
dice, see what
So I
happens,
like trying
roll with
to
it.
figure out what I can do with what I have, right? So
Right.
that's what an escape room is. You're in this room. I've
Yeah.
got a shovel. I've got a brick and an idol. How do I use this to get out? That's
Right.
I like that aspect of things. Where she likes solving the puzzles in the escape room.
Yeah. So both of them are excellent games, but I think that it matters where you fall as a gamer,
Yeah, they
where
appeal
you
to
want to
different
go.
audiences, yeah.
Absolutely, because there's a lot of people that played Eastern Wonders and are like, I don't like this game, and I'm like, why not? It's so good.
Because it is similar but different.
For me, it was just because of the board movement. Instead of just I need that card, I'll buy that card.
Yeah.
Because I have to I have to get over there, set
Yeah.
it up, and then
It's
utilize
planning.
it. It's planning, but it's also just feels a little slower. And I could do the same
does
thing
slow
with
down
a
the
faster
game.
pace.
Well, I think a
and
good
there's also
way-
less ways to score. You only have for most of the game 3 different things you can score,
Yeah.
whereas in Century Spice Road you've got 5. So someone
Well, plus you have
snipes
your
it right-
board though too.
Yeah, that's
that you
true.
score
By
points off your
unlocking
board.
those,
Yeah.
But
And then
that-
you can get points off of that.
Yeah, that's a more passive way to score.
Well, the way I had it explained in a really good way was that, I think she said it was, the first one is kind of more of a light, you can kind of shove it in between other games and pick it up really quick. It's a good gateway game.
Sure.
Where the second one is, if you wanted that, but you want more depth, you feel like, this isn't enough. This
don't
is
think
too
it's-
light. I want to
guess-
do this one.
I don't know if it's that much deeper. I mean, I think they're a similar weight, personally. But I don't know. I like.
But you feel like the second
better.
one is slower.
I feel like it's slower paced, and it's.
Well, why should we care what you think?
Well,
Peace.
bye, folks.
That was short.
And we're done.
And thanks for having me.
Well, you got to play both together. How did you like both together?
Well, I played with my wife, and she basically just played the Century Spice Road strategies.
Really?
And won the game that way. So it kind of felt like it doesn't
add need to have.
It doesn't add enough to really change the way you have to think about the game.
Like, it's cool that you can combine
you
them,
can use the board if you like, but because you've got the cards there, she just used the cards like she's used to. Went back and forth between two locations because those were shorter. She didn't want to waste a bunch of time moving all over the board.
Right. It's actually not a bad plan.
And she pulled off a win. And it was a close game, but she
didn't say it was that close.
She beat me by 1 point. 1 point. Let the record show.
Notice that she's not here to confer that. I always lose by 1 point.
Is this the part where we flash her phone number on the screen and then people can call and cooperate?
Do her Twitter.
I'll write it in the bathroom if you want.
This is a game, though, for people of 8+, 2 to 4 players, and 30 to 45 minutes.
I do think people should try. I don't want to discourage people from playing it, but I just didn't. It felt like more of like a cash grab than like an overarching plan that he had from the beginning, like the series of games he had planned. It felt more like, hey, that was popular, let's do more, you know?
But see, I think since he came out with the idea before the first one was even released, that just shows you that he already had it, right? It'd be like the difference of, like, I made this movie, let's do a Jaws 2, because Jaws 1 was so good. It was more like, we're going to do a 3-part Jaws.
Well, I think they played his game. They liked it, and they went, let's make this a series. And then he went, well, I didn't have a series in mind, but okay, we can do that. And then they started marketing it that way.
I just even respect just the idea of trying to do it.
It's a cool idea.
Yeah, because that's a really cool idea.
Some expansions just take over a game and almost ruin the core game, where this is like a whole separate game that can be played separately, together, or once again, you've got 3 games by buying 2. Right?
I do sort of feel like you should buy
2 and then both.
You should probably buy one or the other, though, because if you're buying both of them with the idea of playing them together, you're spending kind of a lot of money for basically a light Euro at that point. You know what I mean?
How dare you?
That's maybe true.
You know what I mean? I mean, if they're $30-$35 a piece, like $70 for something that's the weight of Slender.
You said it like that, and all of a sudden she's like, "Hello, darkness, my old friend."
I think that overall, though, because I enjoyed the game more than the other one, that it's just a matter of finding the right players that like which one you like.
I like your wife's strategy because I'll be doing the cards while she's going around the map. I'm like, have fun, sail around. I'm just going to collect cards.
They are both excellent games. I think it's just a matter of what you like. What appeals to you. You know, do you want a quicker card sort of game, of engine building game, or do you want something where you're going to have to plan out your moves a little bit more extensively? So I liked it. So yay for me. Dr. GloryHoundd, what did you play?
I'm excited about it. Oh, what did I play? I got to play Rising Sun. This is probably my, I don't know, it's third or fourth full play, I think.
Yeah.
So we got, everybody kind of has a general idea of Rising Sun. It's not a new game, but I got to play it with Greg and Andrew Warble and a bunch of different people.
Wow, you just leave me out? I've played with you.
Right,
before.
But I'm saying
he's talking about the most recent time that he played
literally 2 days ago. 48 hours ago.
We were only going to talk about the most recent gameplay?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
So this was my
Why am I even here?
The reason why I bring it up is
do I need to stand between you two?
This is the first time I played it with both the Fox Clan, which is the Kickstarter, and the Sun and Moon, right? Is that the silver and gold team? Was it Sun and Moon or something?
Andrew played the Sun Clan, I think. Yeah,
I think it is Sun Clan.
Yeah.
So
it's the new ones.
Yeah, they've got a whole different monster scheme. So
stuff, yeah.
Instead of using the regular monsters, they have their own. Is it gods? Essentially, what they have.
Yeah, they have their own set of figures that they have access to that the rest of us can't buy. But they also can't buy the ones that
everybody else has.
So they have their own So they have their own monsters essentially.
Right.
Nobody else can.
I think the idea is they're a different race, and so they have a different set of gods or whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
So the only thing I want to say about that is, we played the game.
All offended all of a sudden.
How dare they have different gods?
It was pretty close.
Everyone must think like me.
It was pretty good all the way through the game.
Let's talk over him one more time.
I know.
Okay.
I'll stop.
How's it feel?
It doesn't feel bad. I wasn't that prepared. So
he's like, he's like, I'll go catch a movie.
He's like, and done.
I'm going to grab more hash browns. I can jump in this tournament.
It looks pretty fun.
So what I felt about with the addition of the Sun Clan into it, more so than the Fox Clan, I don't feel like that broke the original game or anything. With playing with one person playing the Sun Clan, with the expanded clan, I think it really changed the dynamic because they do have. If you're not playing both of the new clans, where like two people are fighting over the same cards, he had full access to the best of his clan and still the best of the other stuff that we weren't looking at because we played with like all the monsters, like too many monsters.
He just threw everything in.
So I think I recruited like at least 2 monsters every single season. Like spring, I had 2. I think I got 3 during summer because of like some extra buy-ins.
Yeah.
So it changed the game to the fact that like while we finished and the point spread was like 49 to 40 for like second, third, and fourth, first place, who was playing the Sun Clan, got 115 points.
Yeah.
So I feel like if you lap the board like twice, because it's only supposed to go up to 50-ish points, like that's the board stops there, and they're lapping twice, and everybody else is like, it was like I had 49, I think you were at like 43, I think Alex was like 45.
We were all fairly
close.
tight. Yeah.
Like it was close endpoints that. It's kind of like when you add like an expansion, only one person's playing the expansion, it does kind of change the overall base game and how it scores. And so I don't know if that's a clan you should play
I don't know if
without
it was,
other people playing that clan.
My question is, do you think it was the clan or was it that we threw in 1,000 God cards?
Well,
and
I think the lesson is that if you put 100 monsters out, that the guys are going to get all the monsters. I had like Kaiju and everything.
I've done that before. I think at Dan's house where I ended up where I had a very heavy point total at the end.
Yeah.
And I was using, what's the blue clan? It's the one where you can fly to any location.
Oh, shoot. I don't
and
remember.
stuff.
Let's call them the Airbirds.
Lotus?
No, I was Lotus.
No, you were Lotus. I don't know.
Airbirds.
And because of that particular skill, it did make it so I could pick and choose like the best, the best battles, or if there just wasn't a continent that was occupied, I could just pick it up very quickly.
So I would argue that's part of it.
So do you feel like
the Fox clan does something similar?
You think these extra Kickstarter exclusive clans and monsters, they didn't playtest them as well? They're not as balanced with the base game? Is that your sort of thesis statement? Or?
That's what I'm saying. I feel like that particular portion. The Fox is fine. I feel like the Sun and Moon, if you don't have people, at least 2 people playing both of those clans, it dramatically changes it because he's got a whole set of cards that nobody else can access.
It would be interesting to try another game where
with both of them there and to see how that works.
With both, I think, because then there's competition for the
but
gods.
Don't they each have their own set? I'm not sure, actually. Did each have their own set, or are they both going for that same set?
I think it's the same, because it's like...
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Yeah, so I feel
that
like
would be really interesting to play.
Because he won through virtue cards. He had a bunch of virtue cards, which...
That was a big,
We argued that since we used more monsters than is recommended, we got monsters every time we could buy, and we never picked up any virtue cards.
Well, then, was that the problem, is that you guys used more...
Well, it's both. So it's that expansion gave him access to certain monsters that doubled his virtues.
Okay.
So he was getting virtue cards and virtue monsters, essentially,
okay.
that we couldn't access. And then there was too many monsters, and we were blindsided by the awesomeness of Kaiju, and we started grabbing monsters.
And you're like, oh my god, monsters everywhere. Oh my god.
I was like, 3 monsters
I need monsters.
All the time. So many monsters. It was a lot of monster loving.
It was a lot of It was a good time, though. I enjoyed it, even though I could tell early on, I'm not going to win this. Well, there's no way I'm going to win this.
He was so far ahead that it was just like, this is not going to end well for us. Like I
also enjoyed just randomly talking about Sean Connery's film career for 45 minutes at the beginning.
Sean Connery as the Highlander. I think the big thing, though, with that game, too, that I've learned is that when you play it, if you're not playing with an even number, it kind of changes the dynamic because the alliances
are very huge in that game, and I'd rather play with even numbers.
And there's a person who's like the 5th person who doesn't join up. They're at a pretty big disadvantage,
They are.
I feel like.
Yeah, they do kind of get screwed with that,
But not like in a way you like in the back of a VW or something.
It's always VWs.
It's an uncomfortable place.
It's an uncomfortable place, but it's always good.
Well, I was born in Germany.
You don't even need the person as long as the car's there.
I'm pretty sure since I was born in Germany, I was conceived in a VW.
Is that it?
I think 90% of the population
That's how it happens?
is conceived in a VW.
I think 90% of the population worldwide have VW bug in about 19...
that time.
When were you born again? 57, 58? I can never remember.
Because he's 40 years old, I mean.
Totally 40. That's not
Just
true.
put him on blast.
Look at my bio.
Look at us. Look at the young people and old man 40 over here.
I'm like a 40-year-old. I should stop doing
I was going to say 53, but...
Well, Greg, what did you end up playing?
I just learned a new game, newish. It's last year. It's called Rajas of the Ganges.
Are you sure that's how it's said?
I am not sure that's how it's said.
Okay.
Perfect.
It sounds good, though.
Please feel free to...
Sounds good now.
Sounds good.
That's what we'll be calling it.
You're playing royalty. It's set in, I think, 16th century India. You're playing royalty. It's a mid-weight worker placement game. There's a board, the main board, and then you have your own individual player boards. It's sort of a grid. And through the worker placement on the board, you're getting the resources resources you need to buy the tiles to sort of trick out your own player board.
Like shiny rims and CD mirrors and stuff.
Yes, absolutely.
Exactly
there's like
it.
an exhibit card. You can like pimp your ride. We're old folks. People are like, who's exhibit?
Hit my ride. Is it on reruns?
I like Drake.
Isn't it on TV Land?
So, and then basically think of like Carcassonne tiles that you're placing on your own personal board.
I
Okay.
refuse. I will not think of
Okay,
those tiles.
do not think of Carcassonne
Okay.
tiles.
Well,
It's
now I'm
definitely
thinking about 'em.
it's definitely not like Carcassonne, but you are placing tiles on a board.
Yeah, and they sort of, and the roads on those tiles, if you can get them to line up with certain bonuses on your board, you can
Okay.
get those bonuses that are points and coins and other sort of in-game.
Oh, okay, that's really cool. I like games like that.
Yeah, so it allows you to combo to a degree, and then the uniquest characteristic of it is, you think of like most Euro games, or a lot of Euro games have like a score tracker around the outside.
Right.
It has that, but it also has simultaneously has a money track that goes the opposite direction around the outside of the board as well. And the way the end of the game triggers is when your score token and your money token pass, going opposite directions on those two tracks, if that makes sense. So you're trying to use that money to buy the tiles, but also save some money so that you can hopefully get there first, because everyone else just gets like one more placement, and they try to pass their tokens as well. Does that make sense? So it's kind of a kind of a unique end game. What's the word I'm looking
Trigger.
for? Yeah, end game trigger, and kind of a unique scoring thing. I mean, you're getting points throughout, but all it really matters is how you finish. Doesn't sound right.
That's 90% of life.
That's
I'm all
what she
stats
said.
today.
I mean,
And it's fun
That
because
is
it's
something that she would say.
That's
yeah.
right. That's
it's only
right.
important that I finish.
Well,
that's right.
I mean,
you do you.
You can have fun in the bathroom.
finishing is very important. Okay.
So it's unique. I mean, I would recommend it for people who like midweight Euros. You know, games like.
And if you like to finish.
Yeah.
If you like to
if you
finish.
like winning and the finish, I mean,
If
you
you
want to
first
play
or
this
last.
game.
I should mention that it's Inca and Marcus Brand, who are known for the exit games and Village.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
I like the exit games.
Yeah, they're really good designers, really innovative, interesting designers, and they bring that
But
to
what
this
do they
game.
smell like?
Oh, I have no idea.
Summer breeze.
If I ever meet them, I will sniff
Yeah.
them and say, "This is for Derek."
Wait, so that's not a thing most board game reviewers do, because she smells everybody she meets. She's like, Will Wheaton smells like.
I did wonder when I came
Like
in.
candy corn.
She's like, "Put your arms up."
Smells like candy corn and brandy. It's a delightful scent.
You could probably lure me someplace with that. We have candy
Candy
corns
corn?
and brandy. I'm there.
She's very
Can I bring a
easy to
board
lure.
game? Can I bring a board game?
She's
Hold
very
on.
easy to lure.
Very easy. I can't tell you how many times I've had to get her out of a van. It's bad. She's always going to
How
the
many
van.
times have I
Where are
told
the
you?
puppies?
Because you wanted the VW van to yourself. So you're like, out, woman, out. This is my van.
So you said there's candy corn and kittens? I'm,
yeah.
where are we going?
Yeah. You just
Oh,
chuck,
you don't need this blindfold. I just want to play with the
No,
cats.
no, it's fine. It's fine.
just chucking
Everybody
candy
loves
corn out
kittens
the
and
window
candy
as
corn.
hard as you
God,
can.
okay? And if you don't like candy corn, you're wrong. You're fucking wrong.
That's a very strong opinion to have.
I don't like candy corn.
We just lost 50% of our viewers. 2 people just turned off right
Yes, 2 people.
now. One of them was my mom.
Aw,
Sorry,
your
Mom.
poor mom.
Your mom
Your
turned
poor
off
mom.
weeks ago.
Well, thank you so much for tuning in to us today.
I will apologize for nothing.
Make sure to check out Greg on Hooked on Geek.
Yeah.
Go ahead and...
Every Monday we put out an episode.
You want some more Dick Son? Go to Check Down Hooked on Geek.
Every Monday we put out an episode. We interview people. We talk about games. We do top 5 lists. We have access sometimes to early games because of cool people in the Arizona community.
Absolutely.
So sometimes we can give you kind of heads up on stuff that's not quite out yet. So, yeah, check us out every Monday. We're on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook.
At Hooked on Geek.
Hooked on Geek. And you can email us at hookedgeek@gmail.com.
All right.
Give us show ideas.
Gmail,
Yeah.
that's fancy.
Oh, yeah. We
And-
don't just give those to anybody.
Make sure to rate everybody on iTunes and Stitcher and give us thumbs up on YouTube because we're going to be posting to YouTube and stuff. We need the likes and
Yeah,
stuff.
that's true.
And
Yep.
is there anything you want to say, Dr. GloryHoundd?
No.
Where can people send, like, messages now that they've seen
At
you?
ooh,
and they're
yeah,
in
now that
love
they've
with
seen
you.
this face.
Yeah.
Ooh, I mean, should I give out my Gmail? I do have a Gmail. It's drgloryhog@gmail.com. That's
Oh,
a true
okay.
story.
And your
All right.
social security number?
Yeah.
It starts with a 7.
7.
Mother's
Ends
maiden
with a
name?
7.
Ends with a 7.
I'm not telling
Mother's
you that.
maiden- oh,
This
sorry.
is like
Okay.
an interview that we had earlier. where
what's
we
your
were, like, really
favorite
personal
dog?
question. Favorite dog? I would
Yeah.
have to say right now probably a Jack Russell, but I'm strong.
What's the
I love
name
that you had
of your
an answer
childhood
already.
dog? Yeah.
because I'm also pro boxer, even though I've never owned one. I just feel like I should.
Well, yeah, because boxers are cool.
They look just awesome.
All right, we're wrapping it up. So have a good night, guys.
Or not. Have a crappy night.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely.
Have a mediocre day.
Head to abnormalentertainment.com for all of our podcasts and blogs. Go to cinemaheadcheese.com for our movie reviews and news. Don't forget our YouTube channels, Abnormal Podcast and Cinema Head Cheese. Get us on Twitter, @AbnormalPodcast, and find all of our shows and Abnormal Entertainment on Facebook.
You've been listening to the Abnormal Entertainment Network.